future. We're talking real money.
Don't you love it how when we are in a new year, everybody talks about new things like your new diet, your new exercise program, your new savings and investing program, and, well, new relationships. It's a season for new relationships. We're going to get rid of that old one and start something new. We're going to get it right this time, though. We're going to get it right. Well, there's not a lot you can do to absolutely get it right, but when it comes to money, maybe we can help a little bit. I'm Don. Tom's over there. This is Talking Real Money, the podcast, one of the early podcasts for 2024. Actually, one of the early financial podcasts just overall. It started under a different name, but we've been doing a podcast for forever podcast time.
I think it's like 17 years.
Yeah, that's a
Maybe
long
longer.
time in podcast years.
18 years, something like that. Yeah, we've been out there.
So that's like 100 in podcast years.
Indeed, yeah.
Feels like 100. Anyway, we're going to help you build a better financial relationship because one of the things people don't talk about, it's just not supposed to be discussed with your significant other, your spouse, your live-in friend, is money. People don't like to talk about money. And then what happens? It leads to all kinds of problems. So here are, there was an article in the New York Times, 11 questions to ask your roommate or significant other or future spouse. Well, Tom looked at it and went, I don't want to do 11.
Too much.
I don't think they're all that important anyway.
I don't want to burden myself that much in the new year. I don't
want to work that hard.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Tom sorted the wheat from the chaff. He carved the meat off the bone. He got to the heart of the matter. How many other metaphors can I think of?
I think you're doing pretty well there.
I think that's it.
You're off to a good start.
I'm off to a good start. My New Year's resolution was to improve the quantity and quality of metaphors in the new year. Quantity, I'm doing great. Quality,
simpler words, not don't use the cohort thing. So go easy.
Yeah. Go easy on Tom because he tends to drift off into, I'm showing off a little bit.
You notice I forgot my tie today for the first time.
I know. I don't. In the new year, years. Tom is giving up ties.
No, I didn't say that. I just forgot it. In New Year, I'm getting old. I forgot.
You're getting old. You might as well loosen up a little bit. Okay. And as you get older, that tie is going to get tighter around the neck.
Yeah.
Not saying you're going to gain weight or anything, but that's going to get tighter. Anyway, so Tom has cut the list down to what he believes are the most important questions you should put to someone you are going to have a relationship of some kind with.
And the first one they come up with, this is literally the first. What would you do if you won the lottery? So I actually asked my wife and daughter last night at the table. And
I can see where this is going.
No, the first thing my wife said was, which was very wise because she must have heard this. Well, I'm not going to do anything. Now, they always tell you wait a year before you do anything. I thought, actually, that's pretty good. I said, okay, after the year, in air quotes, what would it be? I don't know that I would change my life. She said, I might buy a car, pay off the mortgage, do some of the obvious things, which surprised me because I thought she'd be one of the people who said, well, I'm going to take some of it and go crazy. But this is a reasonable point, I think, for people to ask each other, what would you do with a surprise windfall?
Not that there's a correct answer.
There isn't.
It's just to kind of get a feel for that other person and how they would react to a windfall.
Indeed.
Whether they tend to be a little frivolous. And none of those are bad answers. I'm going to go buy a car. Not a bad answer.
No.
I'm going to go on vacation. Not a bad answer. Investing it. Not a bad answer. I know I'm not going to win the lottery. So my answer is I won't play, so I can't win.
But there may be someone in your life you don't know about that could leave you a lot of money or something. You don't know that.
Yeah, I pretty much do. No.
Somebody in the audience that thinks, I've listened to Don McDonald for 30 plus years. I love the guy. Here's blank. Here's
thank
a lot
you
of
for
money, Don.
planting that seed.
There's a
But my
All
guess is
checks will be cashed, by
that
the
will
way.
never happen.
You never know.
But I'm pretty sure windfalls are, they're just not for me.
The bottom line still for the two of us would be, I like the work I do. So it wouldn't be like woke up and went, never going back to work, right?
Yeah,
I'd still do
that's
the
the
podcast,
thing.
still do the stuff I like. So
I would keep working, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't change my life any, except the one thing I can think is I'd buy probably get another car, because right now Debbie and I just have one car.
You know what I would do? The one other change I would make in my life is I would spend time somewhere other than here in the winter months where it's dark 16 hours a day.
You would get the
16 hours a
Arizona
day.
second home.
I think I would. I think you're
Yeah.
right. And I'd try to figure out how to spend more time there.
Yeah, I would. Okay, you're right. I'd probably get the northern.
There you go. So you get tired of the 88 degrees and
weather all the time.
Exactly.
All right. What else you got there?
Well, this one's a little more direct because I don't know. It says, how much money do you have? How much debt is a question you should ask someone, which I think is not an unreasonable thing to ask someone when you're moving in together, but I don't know how people are going to necessarily answer that.
I think that's a great question for a future spouse. I don't know that that's such a great question, both parts, for a future roommate. Now, I do think the debt question is a good one, because if you're moving in with someone who is going to be partially responsible for the obligation of the place you're renting, it'd be kind of nice to know that they're not in debt up to their eyeballs.
For example, right now, if you were moving in with a guy named Rudy into a new apartment, you might want to check on the financial background just to see if there's any debts that could be a problem, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're not referring to anyone in particular. You
No.
grabbed the name Rudy
just came
out of the air, just thin air. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Nothing political about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Not in the least. The next question is there anything about your finances or future finances that I should know about? Anything about my finances or future finances you're curious about?
Well, wait a minute. You should just volunteer the same damn information. It's not like, is there anything you'd like to ask me? No, here, I'm going to tell you everything, and then you tell me everything. It's the I'll show you mine if you show me yours kind of thing.
Yeah. And good luck with that. I mean,
the part of that I don't like is future.
What do I know about my financial future? I hope it's better than my financial past, I guess.
I don't know anything about your financial future. I mean, I guarantee you that hypothetical guy named Rudy would have had no idea years ago that he would be in the trouble he is in now.
Indeed. Would be an absolute shock.
How would he have shared that with the former Mrs. Rudy?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's fair. And again, I find this entire topic interesting because I think people have a tendency, even if they thought they're being totally honest about this, that they wouldn't be. It's just it's human nature that people have trouble sitting down and talking about their values about money, how much money they have, their spending habit. Very hard.
But wouldn't it be nice if we could?
I think we're trying to help. Here's another question. If we share a household, do we want to share money?
Again, that makes a lot of sense for a married couple, not for roommates. Are you going to put your roommate in joint tenancy on your checking account?
All joking aside, in my house, it's everything that I make is ours. Everything she makes is hers.
Oh, yeah. That's what do you think? You're the only one?
It's not gender based. That's just.
You think you're the only one?
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that.
I have no idea what happens to my wife's Social Security check. None whatsoever.
There you go. Right. It's gone.
Yeah. Doesn't go to the household bills. No clue.
I have no idea what happens to my wife's pizza money. It's gone. No idea.
So what? You give her an allowance every week to go out and buy pizza? What a nice guy.
Here, honey, here's a little pizza money for you this week. Go out,
go cheap.
Go get a slice.
Tight.
Get a slice and a Coke.
This is a fascinating area that I know you want to spend a little time on. How do we stop having the same fight about money?
Oh, okay, that's a question?
Yeah.
Wow, that's the generally speaking, the reason you keep having the same fight about money is because you didn't talk about the first couple of questions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
I'm
oh,
not going to do
well,
that.
that's a surprise. I
Mhm.
didn't know you were a spendthrift. Or wow, look at all your credit card debt that I'm now partially responsible for. Yeah, let's have a fight about that, shall we?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Hypothetical.
Oh, great. Yeah. See, he's
So-
taking the partner thing a little too seriously. Yeah.
Hypothetical. Let's assume two people move in together,
Two people.
and one
Got it.
person makes $100,000 a year, and the other person makes half of that, $50,000.
Okay.
Do you think when it comes to the bills, one person should pay twice as much as the other person?
Depends on the relationship.
What does that mean?
No, it does. If it's married, then yeah.
Everything goes in one pot. It all gets paid.
Yeah.
Which,
If
by the way,
it's,
this never happened to me that way, but okay.
if it's mere roommates, like you're sharing an apartment,
Yeah.
you're not lovers.
Okay.
You're roommates.
These are just,
Then you split the expenses in half.
it is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Sense.
So
I think in this case, they're
right.
talking about a romantic relationship.
If you're talking romantic and you're probably going to get married, then back to answer A, the wealthier person pays more because you're just going to build a lot of resentment in the person who makes less.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I am not a psychologist, nor do I play
ways,
one on the
by
radio.
the way. So
yeah, but the person with the more money has the room to be a little more generous.
fair enough. Yeah. It's what you said a few minutes ago. There's no right or wrong here.
No.
There really isn't.
No, actually, the correct answer to, I think, pretty much, I tried to get the domain name today.
I know you were working on it.
I mean, honestly, I think the correct answer to pretty much everything in life is, it depends.
And let me add a few things from when I get in a room with a couple. Now, most of the time it's about the plan, right? Why are you laughing?
I was thinking about Bridget Ziegler.
Oh, well, that works too.
When I get in a room with a couple. You got clothes on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I don't remember any meetings without them, but it's
okay.
late Friday afternoon or something.
Bridget Ziegler did.
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry. I'm not getting political. It's just kind of funny.
It is funny. Even if you're correct, and this has happened to me many times, because again, back to the dinner table discussion, oftentimes we'll have a discussion about money or something financial, and my daughter will tell my wife, why are you arguing with him? You know this. He knows this. This is what he does. It's a fascinating thing, right? But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I've got a little suggestion to people. Even if you're correct, I've learned, be gentle. No, be gentle. Don't be like, oh, this is just the way it is, and you got to go. Be gentle. That's one.
Okay.
No, I'm
wait,
serious.
Hold on. Before I let you move on from that one.
Yeah, okay. That's a problem for you?
I know you a little too well.
You don't think I can be gentle?
I think that it still is a challenge for you at times.
I think it is. No, I think no, very much so.
Okay.
I'm very good at telling you
what
I'm right and you're wrong. No, I'm very good at good
right.
at that. And that
you and my wife, you're like two peas in a pod, and I'm kind of married to both of you.
Exactly. And that comes from being a referee for 30 plus years, where on the field, it doesn't matter. You might be right, but
and the child of a colonel in the Air Force.
That, and then running my own business, all these things where, it's my way or the highway.
Know it all. What else you got?
The second one is, and this is harder, but it's kind of worked for me in a way in nearly 20 years of marriage. Take baby steps, because you can't just walk in and say, we're going to fix it. We're going to because that's another part of my bad personality traits is starting today. We're going to do this. That never works. What does work is incremental change, atomic habits, right? These are little things you do at a time that hopefully result in, a better, firmer relationship around money.
So it's kind of like throwing the frog in the cold pot of water
and then
gradually turning up the heat.
I'm going to try that one at home tonight, see how that goes over.
Eventually you get your way.
And here's the best one. I stole this from you because you already told me you're going to mention it. When things really get ugly, and they They can.
They do.
Finances
No,
are
they
always at the
will.
core of things, it seems. Use a third party.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that makes a ton of sense. I
Yeah.
really do.
I
And
mean,
by the
think
way,
about
if
it.
it's me, I pick the third party.
Did you ever watch the marriage counselor show? I think it was on Showtime.
No.
Very, very good. Interesting couple dynamics, and it was real marriage counselor sessions. So very much like a marriage counselor, a psychologist for those purely relationship issues, most of which are not financial. You need somebody like that. When it comes to financial, this is another area where having that financial advisor that you really do trust, who knows your life, can be really helpful, because they can say, all right, from a financial standpoint, it's X. From an emotional standpoint, it may be Y or Z. I don't know. But purely financially, here's why this makes sense.
And
So there you go.
it can help to have that other person issue that opinion.
But the bottom line of all of this is, don't avoid talking about it. Find a way, even if it's just gradually turning the heat up under the pot, to broach the subject and to get a better understanding of how you guys work together. After 30 years, you're going to figure it out, but sometimes along the way, it can be a bumpy ride.
Very bumpy. And I don't even want to go back to the beginning of my marriage today, because it began with a long negotiation over the prenuptial agreement, which was not fun, by the way, for either party. So
yeah, we didn't even do one of those,
which doesn't even matter today, but it
doesn't matter today.
No, it really doesn't. But
anyway, so have a conversation.
Yep.
Lots of conversations, and continue to have them. And money is important. It should be talked about. As a matter of fact, Tom just made a great point. He talks about it in front of his daughter. That's actually really good future training.
I hope.
Talk about money in front of your kids. No, you should talk about money in front of your kids. At least they'll begin to get a feel for the dynamic.
Fair enough. And she's kind enough to ask, like, can we afford this? Can we do? Which I think is really nice, which I find unusual.
What? Yeah. You have a responsible child?
She's like, can we, so I keep telling her, she already has the rowing scholarship at USC, so it doesn't really matter. The rest of it falls into place. So
she's a rower?
Well, she's not a rower, but she has a rowing scholarship there. It's a whole.
Oh, you worked the deal.
Yeah, it's a side door.
The side door. Okay, I didn't know she was a rower, but apparently that doesn't matter.
Picture of her.
That's right. I do remember there was a little bit of news story about that. Yeah,
there was. All right. All kidding aside, here, how about a couple of quick questions for you?
It's question time.
Yeah.
It's question time.
This comes from Johnny in Bassett, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, a love of dogs there. I have a UTMA.
Hey, quit hounding the guy.
Oh, that's good. I have a UTMA, which isn't that uniform
transfer to minors?
Transfer to minors, not
uniform transfer to minors act.
Yep. For my grandchildren at Vanguard, is it possible to switch the UTMA to a 529 plan? I'm thinking I may have to keep the UTMA open and open 529s in addition. I hope not. Thanks for all you guys do. Much appreciated. Moving money from a UTMA to a 529.
If they're minors, then the custodian has control over the assets and can use them in the best interests of the minor.
Yes. But you cannot take money directly from a UTMA and move to a 529 unless you pay the tax.
Well, UTMAs aren't tax advantaged.
Exactly. So it would simply be if you had a gain
cash
there,
it out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You'd have to sell one and then buy the other. You can't move it direct. I think what he's saying is, can I just move the money over to the 529? No.
Well, no.
If it has no gain, yes. But if it has a gain in it, then you're going to pay tax on it. Yes.
On any gain. Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, the money can be used if it's in the best interest of the child to move it into the 529 for the child.
Yeah.
I think, now this really does come down to a legal question, though, of the ultimate ownership of the account, because once you give a UTMA or a UGMA, the assets are property of the minor.
I see what you're saying, but the 529 is property of the holder of you.
Right, exactly.
So you got a good point there.
But the reality is that as the custodian, you could, because if it's in the best interest, it always, all the laws I've read say best interest of the minor. So if it is in the best interest of the minor for you to take the money and transfer it back to you to be able to put it in a 529 for them, I cannot imagine anybody coming after you.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be the child as an adult
Figuring out
to come
you
to
did
look
this
at
to
it
me.
and go, oh, I don't think that was in my best interest. I'm going to sue Grandpa.
And here's the thing about the
You'll be dead by
529s.
then anyway,
I
Grandpa.
know. The 529s now. Two things. Number one, if the money's truly going to be used for education, I see no reason to have it in a UTMA. None.
Not
Two is
anymore.
not
Nope.
anymore. Part two is, remember that 35 grand from that 529 can go directly into their Roth IRA at some point. That's just a huge advantage. Huge.
And I can't imagine any court in the land saying, well, gosh, moving it so the kid could have $35,000 in a Roth IRA, that was not in that kid's best interest. Yeah.
Absolutely
not
crazy.
going to happen.
No, not going to happen. Okay, Gary from Kent, Washington writes, is investing in SPDRs, I think those are called spiders, a wise investment? Can you tell me your opinion on spiders?
You didn't spell spiders properly. It's SPIDERS. And, for arachnophobes, they don't want to own any spiders.
Just crawl your way out of this one?
No. You wriggle. You're more like wriggle.
Yeah. Spiders been around for a long time. This is nothing new. I think they started with like the S&P 500.
It all started with a spider.
Correctly.
The itsy bitsy spider was the Standard & Poor's Depository Receipt, SPDR.
Correct.
One of the early, in fact, may have been the first ETF. I think it was.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was. And now they refer all of the State Street ETFs are often referred to in the vernacular as spiders. So State Street ETFs are legion. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how many they have. It's got to be, it's hundreds?
I think it probably is. I mean, think about there's thousands of indexes per se, but so we're okay with spiders, sure.
And the spiders, the SPDRs, they mainly are based, I think they're all based on S&P indexes, but this is one of those questions that does not have a specific answer. For example, there's the SPDR double line total return tactical ETF.
Don't use that.
Would we suggest that?
No.
Probably not. Expense ratio for an ETF pretty high, 0.55.
Yeah. No, but the structure we're okay with because that's just an exchange traded fund. Yes. Mm-hmm. The specifics, as Don said, it depends.
Yeah, it depends on the fund.
Yeah.
On the ETF. I'm just going to keep calling them funds because they are funds. They are funds. Exchange traded funds.
Indeed they are. Yeah. Okay. Good. Right. Good questions. Good answers. I do want to mention here we are in the new year. If you want a little help? We can get that for you.
We can. No? Okay. Yeah. No. Unless you guys have stopped doing it.
No, I don't think so. It's still
everybody's okay with it, right?
2024. You betcha.
2024. Start the year off right with a meeting with a real fiduciary advisor who will actually give you actionable assistance, not charge you anything, and not pressure you to become an Appella client. That is not done. It's not allowed.
And, as part of that process, we actually look at your current holdings. It's pretty cool. And we tell you how diversified you are, how expensive they are, how much risk you're taking. We got some great software that does all that for you. And
most people don't know.
They're surprised. They look at it and go, whoa, I didn't know I was 85% in basically 7 stocks, the Magnificent 7. And you want to be more diversified than that. So we'll help you with that. Absolutely.
All right. So all you have to do is go to talkingrealmoney.com and click on the button that says Meet an Advisor. So easy. So easy. Okay. Thank you all for being there.
Yep. Appreciate it.
We're done with this podcast, but, right on its heels, there will soon be another one because, thank goodness, the holidays are behind us. And I don't have to deal with all the holiday issues getting these things out. So we're back on normal schedules, and I'm much happier now. I am. Give me a regular life. That's all I want. Without holidays. All
There's
right.
no
Thanks
regular life. There's just life, first of all. So
Yeah. All right. All right. Back to it. We're going to just look around, find some cool things that allow us to keep doing what we love doing, and that is talking real money.
The opinions and views expressed on this podcast were current on the date recorded. Opinions, estimates, forecasts, and statements of financial market trends that are based on current market conditions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without notice, including any forward-looking estimates or statements which are based on certain expectations and assumptions. Although information and opinions given have been obtained from or based on sources believed to be reliable, no warranty or representation is made as to their correctness, completeness, or accuracy. Information presented on the podcast is not personalized investment advice from Appella Wealth. The views and strategies described may not be suitable for everyone. This podcast does not identify all the risks, direct or indirect, or other considerations which might be material to you when entering any financial transaction. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and profitable results cannot be guaranteed. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. The podcast is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appella Wealth, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Please see Appella Wealth's ADV Part 2A on our website for information regarding Appella's fees and services. Appella Capital, LLC, DBA Appella Wealth, is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in the states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Appella does not provide tax or legal advice, and nothing either stated or implied here should be inferred as providing such advice. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and important disclosure related to performance of any specific index or fund quoted in this podcast. Is anybody still listening?